Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to share my favorite quick batch card making tips with you. So if you're getting ready to make your Christmas cards, you can do it in a flash. This video is brought to you by topflightstamps.com. I'm going to use some stamps that they sell from the company Kraft. They go and scour the globe for the coolest stamps and bring them back to us here in the United States. These are really pretty traditional and vintage Christmas card images, and I think you're really going to enjoy them. So without further ado, let's get to the tips. My first tip is to keep the basic design and supplies you use the same. By limiting additional choices, you're going to work a lot quicker. Just gather everything up you plan to use and keep that on your table and nothing else, and your card making will fly by. Tip number 2 is to work assembly line style. When Henry Ford introduced the first moving assembly line to his factory, it took the process of building a car from 12 hours to 30 minutes. Just think of how it can speed up your card making. My next tip is to ask for help. When you're doing an assembly line style project like this, you have broken everything up into quick and easy tasks like cutting cardstock, folding cardstock, stamping images, stamping sentiments, stuffing envelopes. You can enlist your kids or your spouse to help you do this. I also recommend that you choose an easy coloring medium. Skip those really advanced things like alcohol markers that take a ton of time because you're making a lot of Christmas cards or invitations or whatever you're doing, and go for something easy like watercolor pencils. And with watercolor pencils, I find if I use a clear blending marker, one of the water-based kinds, it works so easily for coloring them. It's not messy, and it's super easy if any of your family wants to pitch in and help out making Christmas cards. We usually sit around and either watch Christmas movies or football, and we will get envelopes addressed, stuffed, and cards finished up. And it's a lot of fun, and it really brings the family together. My next tip is to consider investing in a time-saving tool like a die or a punch to match your stamps. I never got the appeal of owning dies for something you might only cut a couple of times, but when you're making Christmas cards, not having to cut out 100 images by hand is a blessing. I actually invested in a scan and cut machine a few years ago so I could have the convenience of dies to match any of my stamps without having to purchase any more dies, so that is super useful. Tip number 5 is to buy a big pack of embellishments and then use them all up. There's nothing more frustrating than buying a cute package of embellishments like any other time of the year, and then you realize you're totally sick of them by the time you get like 4 or 5 cards made. Well, this is the perfect excuse to buy a good sized pack of embellishments because you'll use them up in this session and you won't have any leftovers, and you'll feel great that you bought something and actually used it all up. I also have one more bonus tip for you. I love to buy those big stacks of paper when they go on sale, you know, the kind that have like 180 sheets, and it's kind of thin scrapbook paper. Well, to avoid wasting leftover paper, because you always have some that you don't use, I make my envelopes out of it. And how I do it is I measure my card corner to corner, add 1 inch, and cut it to that size square, and then I just fold the flaps around my card, and it makes a perfect envelope every time. And then you're going to have these strips of paper left over from the envelopes that you make, because it's a 12 by 12 paper and you cut about 4 inches off each side. Well, what you can do with those strips is you can fold them up into rosettes. I score them every 1/2 inch and fold them up accordion style and glue the strips together end to end, flatten them out, and then glue on a little punched medallion from one of my paper scraps. These are so cute as party decorations or as present toppers. So don't waste that paper. You bought it to use it. It's bought and paid for. You might as well give it some life rather than it just sitting on a shelf in the corner of your room where you forget about it. I hope you enjoyed these 5 tips plus a bonus for making cards quickly in batches. I want to thank you so much for watching. I want to thank our sponsor, topflightstamps.com. I'll have all of the products I used linked up in the video description so you can find them. Please give me a thumbs up before you go if you like this video. And until next time, happy crafting!